Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing today? I hope everybody is doing well. Um, the whole point of today's call is to talk about some social media questions that have been asked to lots of students recently on the IELTS speaking part one section in particular. So I know most of us use social media on a daily basis. We use social media. Most of us could even have it signed on right on our phone. I think most of us are mobile users these days more than sitting on a laptop or desktop. And so I wanted to talk about some social media questions that have been asked to our students. And I know some people, for example, my husband, he's not on social media. And some people prefer not to have social media accounts. So, in that aspect, when questions are asked to you and you don't have a social media account, remember that there's so many different ways to answer these questions. So I'm going to help you answer these questions both with if you have a social media account and you use it on a daily basis, or you don't have a social media account and you don't want to respond with something as simple as I can't refer to these questions because I don't have a social media account. So this is something we're going to discuss today, and it's so important to know how to answer in both ways in the IELTS speaking section, because there are topics you may get that you cannot relate to, but you need to figure out how to respond to the answer in such a way where you come up with an idea to help you get a high band. So the first question we're going to answer, or we're going to talk about, is, do you like social media? So let me know, do you like social media? Are you somebody who uses social media on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis? So, how exactly would a person answer a question like, do you like social media? So, the best way to answer a question like, do you like social media? And I'll just write it out in the chat box just so if someone is watching this afterwards, you have the question that I'm discussing the answer for. So, do you like social media? I would say something like, honestly, I think such platforms like Facebook and Instagram are a great way to keep in touch with love long lost friends as well as long distance cousins. So I would say I enjoy social media. So if you see, I did not even use the word social media in the first sentence. Rather, I said platforms, online platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. So I refer to certain platforms rather than just calling it social media. And this is something that you need to keep in mind when you are answering your questions for the IELTS speaking section, just because it's so important that you are able to use synonym language in your answers, because this is what the examiner is looking for. You need to be able to impress him with your English speaking skills. And how would you answer such a question if you are somebody who doesn't use social media? You could be honest. You don't have to pretend like you use it. You could say something like, on honestly, platforms, any type of online platform that has a community does not interest me because I feel like it consumes too much of my time. So, this is a type of answer you could give to impress the examiner. You are letting him know that you don't use social media because you find it takes up too much of your time. It's too time consuming, and you prefer to do something else with your time. So remember, you could give a great answer and still say you don't use such a platform? So the second question I wanted to talk about is, do you feel like you or your friends use too much social media? And I'm just going to put the answer in the chat box so you have it. So do you feel like you and your friends use too much social media? And the best way to answer such a question is, it, let's say the examiner first asked you, do you like social media? You already said you don't use it. So now he's asking you a second question about social media. So you can say something like, as I mentioned earlier, I don't prefer to use social media, but I feel like every time we're out or I'm out hanging out with my friends, they're always checking their phones to see the latest updates on social media. So you can use such an answer to show the examiner that, yes, as I mentioned earlier, I don't use social media, but I find that my friends consistently or constantly use social media to check the most up to date information. And another way you can say you don't, and the other way you can say if you don't use social media, well, the first question was about not using social media. Let's say you do use social media now. You could say something like, yes, actually, I find myself wasting a lot of time on social media, and I tend to forget how precious my time is and how much I should be using it wisely. So if you see, I explained that yes, I am someone who does use social media, in fact, and I am admitting to the fact that I spend a lot of time on social media when I could be doing something better with my time. So these are great ways to answer such a question on social media, whether it be you don't use social media or you do use social media. And the third question I wanted to talk about is, what is the most popular social media platform in your country? Why? So let's say you are someone who recognizes what platforms are popular, because not everyone is familiar with these platforms. So let's say you are familiar with these platforms and you want to respond with a positive answer. You could say something like, I find that every platform is popular for different age groups. So for example, I find that the younger generation likes TikTok while the older generation prefers Facebook. So, answering with a question like this will definitely score you a high band, because not only are you responding to the answer, but you're also telling the examiner which generations or which age groups prefer which social media platform. And let's say you're somebody who's not familiar with these platforms. I know a lot of generations who don't really have any interest in these platforms. How can you answer such a question? So you would say something along the lines of, to be honest, social media is not really my cup of tea. It's not something I follow or prefer. And I know there's so many different platforms out there. So I'm not sure which platform is popular in my country. See, that way you are explaining to the examiner that you are not somebody who follows these trends for these different platforms, but you are explaining that you're not familiar with these platforms, nor do you know which ones are popular. So you're not just giving a one word answer, is my whole point of explaining this. Like, to be like saying, I'm not sure which platform is popular in my country, but you're giving an answer in full sentences. And then the last question I wanted to discuss is, would you like to would you prefer to work for a social media company? So I know some people know the perks of working at Facebook, Twitter, Google. these type of social media companies, and a lot of people would love to work there. So if the examiner asks you a question like this one, you could respond with however you feel about it. So let's say that you want to work for one of these social media companies. You could say something like, well, to be honest, you could say something like, well, to be honest, working at a social media company would be really fun and exciting, because I know that they always have really nice modern offices to work out of. So I would definitely like to work for Facebook. That is, if you would be interested in working for a social media company. And on the other hand, if you have no interest to work for a social media company, maybe you have a different desire, you could say something like, working for social media platforms is not something I find really interesting. So I would say that I wouldn't really prefer to work for a social media company. So if you are able to answer your questions like this and explain to the examiner, whether it be a positive question, like you're going for the question or you're going against it, make sure you speak in full sentences. Make sure you are able to answer the question using related vocabulary within the given context. Make sure you are able to speak in the most natural spoken what I'm trying to say is, you need to be able to speak in natural spoken English, because this is what the IELTS speaking exam is all about. You need to be able to speak like a native English speaker. And this is the only way you are able to do this. So, guys, I hope you like these 4 questions I answered today. Do you like using social media? Do you feel like you or your friends use it too much? And what is the most popular platform in your country? And would you like to work for a social media company? Let me know down below if these are the types of videos you want me to do with my live, because I'm trying to get on YouTube live more often, at least every day during the weekday, so I am able to help you with your IELTS exam. I want to be sure that I can accommodate your needs and what you need to prepare for your test day. Let me know down below in the comment box. I will be saving this video. So, for those of you who were not able to attend today, I would love to hear from you in the comment box. I wish you guys well, and I take care of yourself. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye now.